Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here for The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2. This is my Episode 3 trailer breakdown, so let's actually break down every single shot here in the trailer. I will be doing a video later on tonight as well, so stay tuned for that. It's actually going to be on Hershel and the ending scene there. I know, in my breakdown video, actually, I mentioned that, you know, maybe the final scene meant this or that, and I totally missed that. But yeah, so obviously, that ending scene is really, I would say, a crazy reveal for the season, because it does kind of show that Hershel in some way, you know, maybe wanted to save the Dama or save Negan. There was a signal there, and I don't know if the signal was for Maggie, but the signal could have been for the Dama and the Croat so that they knew that they were on their way. And so you sort of have to look at everything as like, what is going on with Hershel this season? And I know that they mentioned that he's going to have a darker storyline this season, so that reveal at the end was actually a lot bigger than I originally thought it was. And so I'll do a video talking about that later on. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. But let's get into the trailer here for episode 3. So everyone is now in New York City, and I imagine that for the next however many episodes, that's really going to be where the story is set now. So we see them, I think this is Central Park. I'm not entirely sure of, you know, everything about New York City. I don't know the place that well, but I think that this could be related to Central Park. And I know that Negan and the Croat and whatnot are going to be dealing with like a new community here. I don't know if it's him that's going to deal with it right away, or maybe it's Maggie, but like I know that there's a community that I don't want to give the name away yet, because obviously it is spoilery. We haven't watched the episode yet, but there's actually a community or a group or whatever that we're actually going to learn about. And yeah, the group has a really interesting name. I don't know if it's connected with anything with Central Park and whatnot, but I'm just going based off of some of the early reviews. There were some spoilers out there in terms of like the names of communities and whatnot. So yeah, we could be getting into that in episode 3 here, but we do see this shot here of everyone here walking out of the woods. I don't even know if that's really the woods, but they're traveling here to New York City, and I want to know what their next plan is right now. Like, they obviously have to have some kind of plan as to how they're going to take over New York City, because like are they going to the Croat and Dama and being like, all right, we're here, we're taking over, so you're just gonna have to listen? Like, I just don't know what their next overall plan is, because they don't have a lot of people here. Like, yes, they are here, but they need a lot more people. And we did see in the trailer from last week that there was actually like kind of like an army, not really an army, but there was a lot of people there from New Babylon. So they are going to be getting a lot of people on their way, on their side here to fight back against them, but not right away. So I just, you know, in terms of the story, I want to know more specifics about this, because I want it to make sense, right? Like, that's my thing about when I'm watching it, is like, I'm just sort of always looking at like, well, does this make sense to do this? Like, why are you doing this? I'm always questioning everything. So as of right now, I'm just like, I know they want to go here, yes, but like, what's their plan once they're here? I know that they're saying like, yeah, we have so much more people than they do, you know, we have a military, this and that. And so I think they feel pretty confident in all of that, but obviously they're not aware of Bruegel. And it's kind of interesting because he wasn't in episode 2, right? Obviously, I think he will be in episode 3. And it's kind of cool to think that, like, we have these two villains, Dama and the Croat, who are, like, I mean, creepy and just, like, terrifying, right? And New Babylon, that is, I mean, obviously we saw what they did to Maggie, right? So we have two groups that are villains in that sense that we don't really like, but Bruegel is still out there. And I think that, like, he's supposed to be like the main villain of the season here. We barely got into anything like with the character. So I'm interested in seeing what we're actually going to see with him this season, and how quickly some of the other groups or characters, you know, I guess, I don't know. That's the thing. Like, what happens, right? Like, I honestly, going into season 2, I thought that Negan might be more on the side of Dama and the Croat, because I thought that Bruegel might just be a bit too much, right? But we saw at the very end of episode 2, like, what Dama is capable of, and obviously Negan didn't seem that happy about it. So I think that it's definitely going to be, things are going to change pretty fast here, but we do have a new character here, and I do believe that she is a part of the new group that we're going to learn about here in episode 3. I don't know a lot about the group, obviously, like, we haven't seen anything from the episode, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, interesting shot though, and I am excited about the new group, because I think the name is kind of cool, and I want to see if they're actually going to play a big role this season. But then we get to the scenes here with Negan and the Croat, and they're outside here, and this is what I'm looking forward to, I think, with the character, is I want to see his old self back and like actually enjoying it, right? Like, I think that's the thing with the character right now is like, you sort of see his old savior self here and there, but I think that, you know, obviously he's worried about Annie and Joshua, so there's some issues there. He's just not quite that character yet. And I know that Jeffrey Morgan said we're going to see a different side to him, but I imagine as the season goes along here, we're going to see a lot more of that character again. And so I'm waiting for that moment, right? Like we saw a little bit of it in episode 2, I would say, episode 1 at the end, definitely, but not as much. And I think that as we go along this season, we will probably see a lot more of it. I think definitely in those last 2 episodes as well. And so in my opinion, I think the goals here of the episode are probably going to be, I think that Negan has to go visit the other groups and be like, all right, we need your decision now, right? And so I think that's going to be the main focus there. And then for Maggie, it's going to be about getting closer to Dama. And then at that point, what happens, right? Like we actually see a shot here of the elevator or whatever. And so that is really cool to me. I never thought that that was going to happen right away. But yeah, that's kind of cool. So I'm interested in seeing what actually happens there. I feel like the bear scene is something that's just not going to quite happen yet, but I think we're getting close to it. I think in episode 4, it could happen, but we'll have to wait and see. We do see a new character here. Well, there's 2 characters here, actually. And I mean, I don't know if they're going to be main characters at all this season because, I mean, this is just a random shot in the trailer, but I believe they are a part of the new group. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I do want to talk about the very last scene here, and we're seeing Hershel and Dama. So obviously, I believe that this is all flashback footage here because it just makes a lot of sense, obviously, from what Hershel is seeing here. And it's really, like, I'm going to get into this a lot later in a video coming out later on tonight, but I just find it really fascinating what is happening here with Hershel and Dama because I always thought, and they did mention there's a lot of twists and stuff like that this season, but I always thought that Hershel was gonna like not like Dama at all, right? Because of what she did. But I really wonder if a lot of like her vision for New York City, her influence everywhere, like I really wonder if it actually is sort of inspiring Hershel to be like, no, we need to do that or whatever, because she seems to have power over a lot of people. Like if you look at the Croat, right? Like she has a lot of power over him. And I wonder if it's just like that for her in general. Like she became a leader of all of this because she just has that type of like influence over a lot of people, right? And so I'm really curious here as to, you know, what's happening because the signal at the very beginning of episode 2 was interesting and I never caught on to it, but at the very end of episode 2, yes, it is revealed that Hershel was the one that made that signal. And so you're questioning like, why are you doing that? And right away, you're like, well, I guess you're warning Dama and everyone else that New Babylon is on their way, right? Like, that has to be it, unless that signal was there because you wanted your mom to find you, right? Like Maggie. But I don't think that's what it was because he obviously knew where his mom was the whole time, right? So I think that he was actually trying to protect the Croat and Dama, or maybe Negan. I'm not sure, but obviously he was giving them a warning, right? So I think Maggie was like, what is going on here? What is happening? So I think that's why she was crying a lot. And so now I'm really interested in the next couple of episodes here because Hershel is supposed to have this dark storyline this season. And so I don't know if this is how he becomes a villain or what is happening here, but there is something being set up here. I really do think that, like I talked about it before, like Maggie versus Dama, like Maggie maybe like Lucilleing Dama or something like that later on this season. I really feel like that moment could happen, honestly. Like, I'm just looking at a lot of this now. I think that if Dama somehow gets Hershel to be on her side or like whatever, right? Like, I think that Maggie is going to be very, very upset, angry about that. I could just see something like that happening right now. But again, I'll talk about that later on in a different video. I'll get into that a lot more in depth because there's actually some other things that they talked about in episode 2 that I found very interesting in terms of who Dama is or who she might have been beforehand. So anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post your thoughts down below on the episode 3 trailer. And yeah, I'm definitely excited for the next like couple of episodes here. And I've noticed some people talking about it, so I do kind of want to mention that really quick. Like the whole 8 episode thing, like you're already starting to see a lot of why. I mean, first of all, I've been really saying that like 6 episodes is not enough. And I've seen some comments of people saying that 8 or even 10 episodes, 12 episodes, like it needs to be at least that much, right? Like more than 8 episodes at least, because 6 episodes is just not a lot. And I think 8 episodes, like even with this much, you're already seeing how amazing this is. Like with 8 episodes, you can flesh out the story properly and spend more time with characters and communities and certain moments and just make them a lot better where you're not rushing from this point to this point. Like I feel like with The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, at least in season 2, they really focused on like making moments exciting and like, let's just like go from this place to this place. We don't want to see the traveling. We don't want to see all of this. And you lose a lot of what makes The Walking Dead special, and you just don't feel that like, I don't know, like a part of the story, right? And I think that's the thing with The Walking Dead Dead City is that having 8 episodes, like the fact that we've gotten so much of the story so far, and we're so much in the story now, right? 2 episodes in, it's kind of cool to think that there's 6 episodes left still. Like, there's actually quite a bit. And all the early reviews that came out are about the next, like, couple of episodes only, right? Like, only up until episode 6. And so I had to mention it because it's something that, you know, honestly, I probably will do a video on, like, not this week, but maybe, like, next week after episode 3, I think, because there will be a point where it's like, you know, whatever happens in episode 3, it'll be cool. But going back to previous shows and whatnot, like that'll be the halfway point of the season already, right? And we're, after episode 3, going to be getting 5 more episodes. So that's what's kind of awesome about it, is that there's still so much Walking Dead left, and there's still going to be so much story here to get into. And yeah, I'm just really excited. But anyways, I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.